Hey guys, Darren Asbury here with Revital Outdoors, bringing you another exciting podcast tonight. Tonight we have Mr. Dusty Robinson. Dusty won the Lake Martin tournament last year in the BFL for Major League Fishing, so we're super excited to have him on and talk about his win last year and how he plans to defend that title this year. Real quick before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button to subscribe to our YouTube page if you haven't already. We appreciate all the love and subscribers that we've gotten this far. You guys are amazing, and really appreciate everyone tuning into all of our podcasts. I think the content's really going over really well, and we're just very proud to be interviewing all these BFL guys that are fishing with Major League Fishing, so it's a really great deal. Also, if you've never heard of Revital Outdoors, make sure you check us out on our website. That's going to be www.revitaloutdoors.com. We're a premium CBD company for all outdoor enthusiasts. All of our products are THC-free, made right here in America, and great for all avid hunters and fishermen. And we're also accepting pro staff, so make sure you fill out that application on our pro staff tab on our website. We'll be happy to review it. And then, of course, we're on Facebook and Instagram, so find us on there too. But that being said, we've got an exciting podcast lined up, so let's go ahead and bring him in. Mr. Dusty Robinson, how you doing this evening, buddy?
Wonderful, Theron. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. So, well, first and foremost, just want to say congratulations on your win last year. It's always great to see a weekend warrior and a grassroots level guy put it all together. I know it means a lot for you in your career, and there's just something about a win that really compels you to just do well in your fishing and want to repeat that success.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was a very interesting situation the way the lake laid out. We had some frontal stuff come in, and Lake Martin has its little waves of pre-spawners, and I kind of caught on to some largemouth pre-spawners, late largemouth pre-spawners that was pulling up at the last minute, man, and it was like a dream come true, you know what I'm saying? I'd been pre-fishing for a few days there and hammering it out and wasn't really putting nothing together, and then the last day of pre-fishing, I seen some things change, on the largemouth side, and I woke up the next morning, started out the tournament, and I said, I got to stick with them largemouth on this lake. A lot of people don't understand that about that lake. It's very largemouth dominant. A lot of guys go for the deep spots, and it's very successful with spots, but it's hard to beat them largemouth when it comes to that lake, man. If they pull up there, you got to go with them.
That's a fact. I think that's any lake. So you're telling everybody that Lake Martin's kind of full of spotted bass and largemouth. I think that's really any lake in the country, just from my experiences. You can have a very, very good spotted bass, lake, such as, Lake Norman, Lake Lanier, any lake like that. But it seems like the guys that win, they have some largemouth mixed in with their bag. And usually that's their key fish.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Lake Martin, it's a dominant spot lake. It's you can really succeed off the spots, but when it comes to these locals around here, man, and they really jump in these BFLs, and you got to get that kicker largemouth. It normally takes two of them a lot of times with some of the sticks that's around here, but there's some big spotted bass now, but you really got to have a focus on them largemouth to really succeed at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. So talk to us. You said you found fish kind of moving up. So talk to us about your practice. When you say moving up, are these fish moving up into the pre-spawn pattern out of the winter pattern? If so, how deep were they? And just what were you able to find in practice that kind of pieced together? And did you think you were on the winning fish when you found them?
Yeah, this time of year going into the spring on Lake Martin, you've got several waves of fish on Lake Martin. Your winter pool, the water's kind of starting to come up there around March, the 1st of March, somewhere around in there. You've got 2 or 3 waves of spawn throughout the year. You got 2 or 3 waves of pre-spawn, post-spawn. It's a very hard to pattern lake. It takes a lot of time and a lot of patience to really dial it in. During the process of the BFL, when I won, there was a wave of pre-spawners that come up, man, and they was on fire like the week before. And then we had the frontal boundary that come through, a little high pressure front that come through midweek, and it just kind of clammed the process up. And I read into that, the frontal stuff, man, it affects everything. Mm-hmm. And during that process, I kind of realized that wave wasn't going to stay where it needed to be, and it was going to get sluggish on me. But the spotted bass normally pull up before the largemouth on this lake, man. once that water gets close to 62 degrees, they're going to light in on it and be on fire. But the largemouth are a little later, and I kind of read into that and really leaned on the largemouth more than I did the spotted bass. But
So that means you kind of stayed out deep, fishing fishing for largemouth still in that winter pattern. So
yes,
that being said, are these fish kind of relating to a spawning area? They're still in that winter pattern, but they're wanting to kind of move up. They just haven't done it yet. And when an angler's looking for that, like what depth are we looking at? Are they relating to brush pile structure? Like what was it that you found?
that's right. It basically on your largemouth, you can pattern them, 6 to 0 foot.
Okay.
If you're not getting bit, they're not far. Those pre-spawn patterns, they're not going back out there to 30, 40 foot and then brush piles. They're going to stick close by. You just got to dial them in and work with the areas to find where they're located. But they're committed once they get to those pre-spawn areas. They're not leaving. You just got to fluctuate and roll with the punches of what they give you,
Okay. So that being said, you were able to kind of dial that in with practice. So does
Yes.
that mean you duplicated areas like that on Lake Martin, and then you kind of run and gun throughout the day, or what do you like to do?
Yeah, that when I was practicing, I seen some fish pulling up shallow, and then we had that high frontal boundary come through, and it dropped them back a little deeper. So I backed out a little further. Most people that was fishing for the fish, but they was on top of the fish. Your better fish, I mean, you could get bit, but your better quality fish had backed out, and you could basically go behind people fishing. And if you could get in those key areas and know where the spawning areas are on that lake, you could back off a little further out away from where everybody was fishing and slow down and really be productive. But a lot of people kept beating the banks because they would pick up one here, maybe lose one, but your better quality bites, man. I caught all day, and it was on fire a little further out behind where everybody else was.
So we're talking maybe 10 to 20 feet and kind of relating to main lake secondary points.
Yeah, it was 6 to 8 feet. You had to be close to your shallow water flats. Your big major shallow water pockets were flats and spawning areas, and a little closer to deeper water. The frontal boundary pushed them out a little further, and just kind of backed them off a little bit from where they wanted to be at the current time.
So that's secondary points is what you're kind of relating
yeah.
to. Okay. Fantastic. So did it help? I mean, is that kind of what you found, or did you find little better areas? Maybe it had some brush or wood on them, or it really didn't matter? Or was there bait mixed in there with the fish? Were they chasing the bait? I mean, spotted bass, they're very much predators, a little bit more of a predator than a largemouth. So was there bait in the area? I mean, what were some of the other, obviously you found a really good recipe for it just to work.
Yes.
But I'm just, what were some other factors that you think held those fish in there?
Yeah, the bait is a key factor. Don't get me wrong. Lake Martin got introduced to blueback herons a few years back, and it really changed the whole character of the lake, man.
Oh, yeah.
And, the bluebacks actually start pulling up before, spawning season comes in. They're going to get up shallow, and that's what really draws the crowd, so there was some bluebacks in areas, and that's the way that lake works. If you find the area that lake has bluebacks, when they start pulling up, it's on fire. It don't matter what you do, how you do. They're really going to target on those bluebacks in that pre-spawning pattern. If those bluebacks get close to spawning flats, it's amazing. It's awesome. You're looking at big.
They go to war is what they do.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, that is, a little frustrating with just in my experience with chasing blueback herring. And you're going to burn a lot of fuel, and you're going to get very frustrated throughout the day because they're there 1 minute and gone the next. Those bluebacks can move in a hurry.
Yes, sir. They're fast. But and that they do that on Lake Martin. They move around a lot, but when you get to the pre-spawn areas and stuff like that, once those blueback get to those areas and then they transport themselves to other areas, those fish are committed. They're going to do their thing. When that water temperature gets right, they're not going to follow those bluebacks anymore. They got to do what they was born to do. That's kind of what led me to that win on Lake Martin. Was the fish got led by the bluebacks a few weeks before, actually, and then they was pretty much committed with the water temperature.
Right.
I just stuck to those areas.
Fantastic. And I assume you're throwing moving baits, Alabama rigs, jerk baits, swim baits, that kind of stuff to
Yes,
mimic the
sir.
woodbacks.
I started my practice out with a few moving baits and tried to slow down, and that wasn't very productive. I had some key secondary points and some backwater ditches, shallow backwater ditches, 8 to 0 foot that I really targeted on that was very productive. Those fish kind of just dropped off out of 2 and 3 foot of water into 5 foot, just in a ditch run, a shallow ditch run. Kind of like they fish at Sam Rayburn, the deeper ditch runs and stuff. But I keyed in on a spinnerbait, War Eagle spinnerbait, not sponsored by them, but I love them. They're probably the best spinnerbait ever made.
I know, probably honestly the most sold spinnerbait. I mean, you look at bass anglers, they all have three things. They all have a Pop-R in their tackle box. They all have a War Eagle spinnerbait, and they all have a Strike King KVD 1.5.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I keyed in on that spinnerbait bite, and you could get bit moving it, really? Shallow and stuff like that. You catch a lot of fish, but your key fish, you had to back off and get out there into anywhere from 6 to 10 foot, slow roll it.
Okay.
They was not aggressive. That frontal boundary come through, kind of shut them down, just clammed them up. They sit out there with their lip poked out, like, man, I really wanted to do my thing, but, had to slow roll it and really just trigger the bite, One of my other key baits was this right here. It's a local guy here that makes this jig, Shane Turner. This
looks juicy.
Yeah, it's juicy. This is the Lake Martin juice. This is the color. This right here is what a lot of the locals use.
I'm seeing a little green pumpkin. I'm seeing a little purple. I'm seeing a little blue.
Yeah. There's really nothing special about this jig. It's a local guy that makes it that is very well knowledged on this lake. Mm-hmm. He's caught a lot of fish on. So have I.
Right.
You can look him up on Facebook. Shane Turner's his name. He don't really sell a whole lot of products, but I can call him right now and tell him make me 50, and he'll have them for me in 2 days. He'll mail them, whatever. It don't matter. Good guy. He lives in Dadeville, Alabama. Local guy. That jig right there is very productive on this lake. Now, a lot of people you can't go just pick up a net bait or a Strike King that looks like that, that's built like that. So
right.
It's a local thing, but it's very productive. Now, I'd require everybody reaching out to him to, kind of look for it and put it in their arsenal for this lake.
That's really cool, man. And there's nothing better. That's why I encourage everybody when they go to a tournament, when they're traveling, make sure you go to the local bait shops for 2 reasons. They're going to have stuff. Number one, bait shops are owned by fishermen.
Yes,
it's
sir.
a fact. They're going to have stuff in there you cannot find online. They're going to have stuff in there you can't find anywhere else. And number two, you're supporting the local economy, and that's really important.
Yeah,
for sure. Right. Absolutely. So, we'll just wrap up a couple of last things. We saw the Bassmaster Elites go to Lake Martin a few years ago. Takahiro Omori won the tournament, throwing a square bill up the river, fishing the dirtier water. And then what really intrigued me about, you're talking about your pattern, Roy Hawk, he actually finished second in the event, and he was throwing that jig, that spinnerbait and all that. So kind of like what you were doing, up shallow a little bit, but, backed off, I'd say up shallow, up in the areas of where the pre-spawners would be, but backed off a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
And both of them were thrown kind of at the dirtier water. Is that something that you were doing too? Is a little bit more tannic water, or did that really factor?
Actually, the dirty water on Martin can be a feast or famine. It's a matter of how much of a rush it comes down Lake Martin. It takes a while. Lake Martin's a clear lake. Mm-hmm. It's clear water lake, and them fish are established to that. It takes them a little while to adapt to that dirtier water. Now, they do adapt. Don't get me wrong. They adapt, but it takes about 2 to 3 days before they settle in to really know what to do. At the time when you was talking about talk up that river and stuff, that water we'd had a lot of rain that year.
Absolutely.
it'd been several weeks of this, and
Mm-hmm.
those fish was well accustomed to it, well adapted and settled. You had some water temperatures that fluctuated that really turned that bite on for him. And man, he showed out and he figured it out. I don't know how he found where he was going, but hey, he nailed it on that one. I'll give him that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, well, Dusty, it's been great having you on. We appreciate you taking the time to be on with Revital Outdoors. Again, congratulations on your win. Hope to see you repeat your success this year and defend your title. Real quick, before we get off, I just want to give you the opportunity to thank any of your family, any of your friends or sponsors that help you. Now's the time to do that. We're just going to kind of give you the floor here at the end.
Yeah, I got you. I think they're coming in March the 5th for the BFL this year on Martin. Man, Nitro and Sylacauga Marine, dude, if they have any issues, Lee Holmes and his service team, awesome, phenomenal. They're probably 30 minutes up the road from Elliott City. These guys go to wit's end to help anybody. I've been dealing with them, sponsored by them for years, man. These guys are talented individuals when it comes to the boat industry. They'll help you do anything you need. Southern States Utilities is one of my big sponsors. They're a local utility company here out of Alabama. Do overhead distribution and underground services on power. These guys are good. They'll help anybody out too. So Shane Turner with these jigs, people that's coming, hey, you might not get bid on it. You might not ever fish it, but call them and order you about 10 of them, because it'll be a good success for you. Even if you don't win, you'll be in the point standing high,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, well, Dusty, we appreciate you again coming on, and good luck this year, buddy. And we wish you all the best of luck. And hey, man, we're doing pre-tournament and post-tournament podcasts. So if we have you back on, that means you're having a good year, and we hope to see you very soon.
Yes, sir. Be glad to, man. Thank you, Theron.
You bet. So, well, good luck this year. For all the anglers that have tuned into this podcast with Mr. Dusty Robinson, thank you for tuning in. Good luck to all you all, especially all the anglers fishing the Bama division on Lake Martin this coming March for the BFL with Major League Fishing. From all of us at Revital Outdoors, I'm Theron Asbury. Be sure, again, to subscribe to our YouTube page and check out our website, www.revitaloutdoors.com. Be safe out there. God bless, and we will talk to you on the next podcast.